Pick of picks and bans already. Cadro, I got to toss it over to you. What are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at OPs. The first pick, the first rotation's always OPs. We're talking Aphelios, Thresh, Pantheon, Taliyah, Kai'Sa, things like this. And junglers are what I'm looking at. You can see G2's already banned away 2. Taliyah's the only one left up for self-made. So if they ban that away, we're looking at things like the Kai'Sa and things like the Camille, perhaps.
Yeah, Taliyah left open. I feel like self-made might want to snap into that. Of course, the Kai'Sa is still there if Fnatic wanted to go that direction themselves. And then I wonder, what does Jankos actually go into here? Because a lot of these fast-clearing junglers, a lot of these high early-game impact champions have, of course, been removed from the board in the bans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Aphelios, Thresh, Camille, Lilia. These kind of things are so OP. The Kai'Sa as well, which we mentioned, has come out as well. So do you want to match jungle here? The Lilia does come in against the Taliyah, so that's really good. So now the Fnatic want to pick up the Camille themselves. Do they want to pick up things like the Azir, which we've seen have so much impact as a 2-3 pick for blue side, because I think blue side can opt in for so much more scaling because of Zaya, because of Azir and things like this.
Yeah, the interesting thing too here with two magic damage junglers as well is, like, would we see something like a Lucian perhaps in the mid lane as an option for either of these two champions? And now the Thresh plus the Aphelios, that's a power bot lane.
And I love to see it, because one of the matchups we're going to be tracking very closely is Upset versus Reckless, and there is really no true or hyper carry in the meta right now than Aphelios. Very traditional, does not have the luxury of defensive tools. Upset will be reliant on Hylissang to keep him safe so that he can deal that damage.
Yeah, I've seen so many Thresh bans throughout the week, throughout the last couple of weeks, because red side can always 1-2 Aphelios Thresh, but they do decide to go for the Kai'Sa Lily on their side, and then the Aphelios Thresh gets locked in. And the Camille that we mentioned has been picked up by G2, and not only is it a Camille, but it's a Camille on third rotation on red side, which means you can invest 2 bans into this Camille to make sure it has the strongest matchup possible. GP's one of them. I would expect Jax to be the second.
Yeah, Jax would definitely be a good one in there. No doubt about that. Now, Fnatic likely hit supports here, you might imagine. Already taking one themselves. We ban away the Blitzcrank that we saw as an answer into Thresh in just the game before this. Maybe a Nautilus as well. Yeah,
the Nautilus is the second answer to the Thresh. So G2 looking to counterpick perhaps mid here. They don't really have to counterpick support. They can pick support on 4. We're looking at things like Nautilus, Leona, these kind of champs that work so well with the Kai'Sa and the Rel as well. But I think the Nautilus is just the best pick for them. Rounds out the comp nicely. Get a good counterpick mid for caps, and then, yeah, just go from there. But the Alistar is locked in, which is also just as good. Gets in their face, engage support, super tanky.
Yeah, right now you have so many options, right? Like All-Star can come from the front for the engage. You have Camille trying to fly in from the side, all trying to set up for this Kai'Sa to see exactly what she can do. Holding last pick for caps, I think that's like classic G2 fashion. Definitely a good choice to come out of them. Now the Volibear as a common answer to the Camille back at Worlds. How do you feel about that one, Cadro?
Yeah, it's a decent answer, I think, from what's open. I mean, the Jax is not very good over side lane because I think the game's more about Dragonflight. So I need to see some kind of AD mid here for Fnatic, I think. I think going for a mage mid here is kind of risky. You're putting a lot of resource onto Upset to carry the fights, but they're going to go for the Azir, so it's almost like a triple AP topside. And the problem you run into with this means the Camille can run away with the game. Looks like Caps already had an answer straight away, insta-locks the Zoe, so the poke coming out from the Zoe Lilia is good, but this Camille over side lane is going to be really, really strong if she gets ahead.
What are we expecting here? I got to set some expectations for these compositions. What is this early game going to look like?
Well, I think if you look at Fnatic, they have so much scaling on their mid-bot side. Yes, the Aphelios Thresh is really strong in the lane phase early because it's a range support into the Alistar, so they'll get the push there. They should get a decent push in mid lane, but the problem they need to run into is they need to make sure this Camille doesn't get ahead, because I think if the Camille gets ahead and she's on side lane and gets the push, if G2 can set up on the objective first with these Zoe sleeps, I think the Fnatic are going to run into big troubles.
And already an immediate level 1 action potentially breaking out here as Fnatic move into the bottom lane.
Yeah, essentially what they're doing is they have a range support, they have a range they carry, of course, so they're putting a ward down in this bush for 2 reasons. First reason is they get vision in the bush to make sure that they can try and get a level 1 kill on the Mickey if he sits in that bush himself, or in this bush perhaps as well. But the main reason is so they can get the push early. They can get the push out, they can push in the bot lane, and they should have prior over bot lane.
Yeah, it looks like Mickey gonna spot this one out, just simply back away from this one. Early reset coming through from Hylissang. Of course, he was the one to place the ward down in bot lane, so switches over to the sweeper, which will be back up right around the same time minions collapse and hit each other in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's really good vision from Fnatic here, essentially putting a ward on the blue Gromp area so they know where Jankos starts. If he starts on red, they know he's pathing to bot side, so that Fnatic needs to be a bit careful when he does hit level 3, level 4 and is around the bot side of the map, whereas G2 won't have any info on where Selfmade's starting. It looks like he's going for an opposite side jungle start, so he's going to counteract what Jankos is doing by going to the opposite side of the map.
We'll see how they split these lanes. Of course, keeping our eyes in general on the top side matchup as well as we progress further into this game. Genax really the only player taking a lot of time to play the Volibear so far this split. He had 2 wildly different games, losing out horribly to Broken Blade, absolutely dominating here. We'll have to see what Bwipo's take on this matchup is. Was very successful with it at Worlds. Likes to go for a more aggressive build with the old Triforce and the Conqueror instead of the Grasp and the CDR. But with new Volibear on the Rift, we'll have to see what his options are.
Yeah, and I think those longer trades with Volibear, if he's ever able to get 2 Ws off within a fight, that sustained very, very good here up against that Camille. Down down bot side as well. We saw Mickey and Reckless assist in the leash already, so Upset and Hilly have this priority in the lane. Hilly can walk up into that second brush as well.
Yeah, exactly. Hylissang can just sit in that bush, and Mickey could ward it and try and spot out Hylissang, see if he's going for a pre-hook or anything like this, but Fnatic can just kill the ward if he does that. So Mickey can't place his ward here. He does have a sweeper anyway, so Reckless can't place it either, because if that ward dies, they essentially lose all their vision. They can't ward the river, so expected pushing coming in here from Fnatic on the bot side, and Wunder has the push on top side. So two different variations, and that's why both junglers are pathing into those lanes. Let's path to the winning lanes early and make sure we secure the Scuttle Crab.
Exactly. Like, there's no help coming for G2's bot lane anytime soon. Same thing for Bwipo on the top end of the map. You're just trying to collect the minions as they come in. Bwipo only one CS to his name, but you know he has to take the back foot early on in this lane.
Yeah, that's the problem. The thing is, if you're a jungler and you path into a losing lane on the side, and the enemy jungle's there and he takes the crab in your face, what he can do is, if he hits level 4 before you, he can go to the other crab as well.
Exactly.
So not only do you lose the crab, you lose 2 camps. So both junglers pathing into their prior lanes here. We're probably going to see a full clear from both junglers, and then they're going to take the crabs and look to base. But aggressive trade coming in top side.
Bwipo going in. That's going to be the big shield coming in. Adaptive defense is buying time for Wunder, and that's going to do it. The tactical sweep for first blood, and already instant blood on the bottom side as Hylissang goes down 2. Are you kidding me? 2 for 0, 3 minutes into the game.
G2 just beat Fnatic on both sides of the map. The long trade, Bwipo couldn't get that extra bite off. Wunder's able to take him down, and then Mickey punting Hylissang under the tower. That is not what you want to see as a Fnatic.
Yeah, need to see the replay there. I think Mickey Q-flashed Hylissang and knocked him into the tower. He saw at the last second in that fight, Hylissang was flashing away from the tower. So really, really good pickups for G2 there, winning both side lanes and having this push in mid lane.
Oh man, it is a great start here for G2. I mean, we were talking about how top side should be going well for G2, bot side not so much, but the fact they win on both. Now what do you really do if you are self-made? You count the summoner, you say, hey, maybe Mickey a little vulnerable, Wunder on the top side as well, but the way minions have been, it has not been good.
Yeah, now G2 do come back to the lane. The problem is, Reckless hasn't based yet, so they do have this kill advantage on Mickey and Reckless, but they haven't gone to base, whereas Wunder's based, he's picked up a Sheen. As Bwipo does win the trade, I think Wunder went a bit too deep there.
You have to remember that as strong as Camille can feel in these trades, multiple procs of that W from Volibear instantly shift things back in his favor. Wunder still has to respect the pick, but now we have the Hex Flash coming in. Activating, that's going to be a little bit more damage. Reckless is here, but the Lilia is also on the way. Upset trying to back off as much as he can. Onslaught now used, and they'll retreat, wasting a lot of Jankos' time.
Look at the cross map though, they're going for a top dive. Wunder has no flash. If they hit a stun into CCTP coming in.
Wunder buying as much time as he can. He's going to lock up Bwipo. The knockback is not going to connect. Wunder's still alive for now, but he does get taken down, and Fnatic make it out alive.
And that's a good juggling of the turret aggro right there. Fnatic definitely making that one work out. Good hook on towards Jankos. Under tower.
Easy under the tower. One shot. Not enough to finish the job.
Does have to flash away, so Fnatic playing the other side. It's basically the reverse, you know, Fnatic's playing really, really good on top side. They get a play. Niski doesn't lose a couple creeps in mid lane. Caps does get the advantage there, and then in the 3v2, they force out Jankos' flash, so Bwipo's definitely covered this lane. Now Wunder might struggle a little bit because I think Bwipo denied the whole wave, and you can see Wunder's coming back to lane, so look at the CS differential. And I think the CS isn't the biggest problem, it's the experience.
Yeah, the fact that Bwipo almost proxied that entire wave, so he's got a lot of time to do whatever he wants, whether it's to go back to base, or I think he's pretty low HP, low mana, so he is going to want to go back to base, but won't even be punished for not having a teleport. He's going to get back onto the map, no problem here. Yeah, so Fnatic very much back into it.
Yeah, exactly. You might be thinking why Wunder didn't freeze that wave. I think his wave was way too far away. He tanked way too much creep damage, so just let it crash. Collect the wave. He does have a kill advantage over Bwipo, but the items are quite similar in a way. You know, dagger to boots is the only real differential you have there. So the map state is really even, the gold's really even. Although there is a kill advantage on G2, the game is very, very even.
And it's incredible to see. You can see the gold is actually dead even as Caps goes out fishing for the Sleepy Trouble bubble. Mickey paying some attention to mid lane to buy a bit more space for Caps. Level 6 coming through will be a big deal, but especially for that top side of the map that you brought up already. Volibear's ability to dive past the level 6 point is huge, but you can see both teams matching plays left and right. Top side for bot side. Now both supports roaming mid. Truly an even match so far in this game.
Yeah, thing is with Jankos, of course, clearing his Krug camp, it means that Mickey doesn't feel super confident walking into that bot side river. It'll mean Crab can go over to self-made pretty easily, and some more pressure down towards bot side. Level 6 for Jankos does open up a lot of gank opportunities, though.
Yeah, self-made and Hylissang kind of holding hands here, making sure they pick up the bot Crab. Hylissang just making sure he's there to cover. So I think bot pressure is what Fnatic have here. They have a wave kind of in an even state. You can see Hylissang poising for an engage here because Mickey has no flash. Self-made has flash himself as well, so they can get an engage here.
Backing off, waiting for a Hex Flash. It's just going to go down here. Mickey going to get knocked back, hooked, pulled through, and just absolutely one shot.
Oh, Niski has to hop on out of there, but it is funny though. Back when Reckless was on Fnatic, it was always going down to the bot lane with all those teleports just piling up, trying to help him out. Now Fnatic trying to turn things around. After the early game didn't go so hot, now able to shut down Mickey. Put some pressure on Reckless.
Yeah, Caps having so much mid-pressure here. The good thing is, both junglers are focusing their attention towards bot side. You know, they did go for the dive top, which got Bwipo back in the game, but top lane's kind of like in an isolated state right now. You know, if Wunder can start winning this matchup, or Bwipo, if bot lane's in an even state, you just have a natural advantage on the map, but Caps playing with fire here. He has the Ignite. He could go for some more damage onto Hylissang there, but Caps... Niski has to go to base, and Caps is keeping up so much mid-pressure. Hits the Ignite. He might take down Hylissang.
Trying to use the Sand Swipe Octave as well. Ticking, burning. Nope, just barely going to live there. And gentlemen, we have a brief
I don't know if we do. There's multiple players from G2 going bot side. They want to shut down Upset. He has no help on the way.
There's no wave though. Mickey doesn't have flash either, so if he goes in for this trade and Upset flashes the combo, he's just going to die himself. But Selfmade's here with the ult.
He's got 7.
Might commit to it though.
He sets up the turret to defend himself. It offers a little bit of zone control. You can see it slows down Yanko, so he can flash at any moment. Mickey is very squishy. That's going to be the root. That's going to be the follow-up. Now he's got the Calibrum Q as well. All too easy as Selfmade is going to finish the job.
Oh, it's just painful right there for Mickey. He thought he was setting up for the gank, but like you said, Cage, the wave wasn't there, so it bought time for Selfmade to show on up, and then this poor little Alistar, not very tanky at level 4.
Yeah, if the wave was there, the Alistar could walk up into the Aphelios and then just hold his Q and force him to flash, but if he can flash the combo, Caps has flash.
No!
He misses the ult! I think he was just out of range. Caps really playing with fire in this mid lane against Hylissang, and Niski does have to base though.
The hitbox is so little, it's so not fair. Any other champion a little thicker, and you're just instantly pushed through.
Oh man.
But I think the biggest problem for G2 now is his bot lane. Fnatic have had perma-prio here, they put so much resources from the jungler, they're starting up the Drake and there's a huge CS differential on this Aphelios who scales super well into the late game. So G2, Fnatic, Bwipo flashes in.
Stun. Can disable the turret if he wants to. Leaps in, now the Camille coming out as well. It misses the damage, but the turret's still like down, but now Exec ultimatum, Bwipo will be able to walk away.
Jankos is on the top side of the map, does have access to his sleep. There's a ward that's going to spot him out, but no flash on Bwipo. Should be able to walk out of here.
Yeah, Jankos just going to clear away this ward, and the thing is he can't trade the Dragon for the Herald because he doesn't have enough top prio to start a fight.
And the guys, I'm going to be honest, have been trying to run a graphic all game, but there's no time. This is a game neck and neck. The balance is there, but Hylissang, the creep's coming in just in time to body block, but now Selfmade stepping forward. The knockback, Reckless with the sidestep, but he still gets pulled in. He gets punted back under the tower. Hylissang in trouble. Oh, Reckless still alive. The body block on the Calibrum Q as well. G2 make it out.
Wow, Mickey runs the same play on Hilly again. Both of his deaths from Hylissang, he's been punted back into the tower by Mickey. It really does feel like even just 6 kills onto the clock. Mickey, Wonder missed his hook shot.
He whiffs the hook shot. That's disaster. Bwipo just gets to finish the job. Adaptive defenses, but it's not enough. Whoa, Bwipo again finding the kill onto Wonder.
There's so much fights around the map, you know. G2 get an advantage in bot, then Fnatic get an advantage in bot. G2 get an advantage in top, Fnatic answer again. So G2 do pick up the Herald, but this top matchup slowly going in favor of Bwipo here, especially after that solo kill. Small mistake from Wonder there.
Go on, Portobello. Keep your eyes on the swirl seed. Will hit the wall and will not proc anything further. Take a look back at this one.
Yeah, this is just that top lane play, and the hook shot does not connect on the wall. You hate to see it here. It's even a level advantage for Wonder, but you see Bwipo wants to trade with his E right there, and it's just off the big shield. There's nothing really Wonder can do. He gets CC'd next to the tower, and even with the shield there, it just doesn't matter.
More with the 3D maneuver here. You know, it's not an easy
He's not caught up on Season 4 yet.
No, he's not.
The only real action we haven't seen is in the mid lane too much. Yes, Caps has been doing so much damage to Niski and Hylissang, but the fact that he's around 15 CS up in this mid matchup without the TP is really impressive, but you have to argue that Niski did TP towards top to get the dive going, but Caps is definitely getting an advantage in this lane.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And once again, apologies to everybody out there. As you have heard multiple times already, G2 Esports have reported connectivity issues. So while we are pausing and investigating and discussing options, Vedius got in touch with the observers, got in touch with Eva, and said, look, let's run through some of the kills. Let's run through some of the action that we have already seen. Now, we are building this live. This is not normal. This is not standard. So, Vedius, where do we want to start, and how do we want to run through this?
Well, first, I just want to check. Observers, if you could give me a bit of a wiggle, if you could tell me that you can hear me, that would be absolutely fantastic. I've done this with my observers a few times, and normally what we'll do is we'll go to each of the plays, we'll have a look and see at how, there we go. Thank you very much, observers. Very cool. So I'm not going to be able to draw on the screen for you guys. I do apologize about that, but there's been a lot of action in Fnatic versus G2, if you hadn't noticed. And so we thought that it would be fun to go back, look at some of these kills and actually do a deep dive, take our time exploring some of the lane states, having a look at that. And because we have our observers with us, we're going to be looking through. So how about we jump to the first kill and we have a look at how that one broke down? Because the early laning phase, there was a lot happening. So our observers are going to jump us over to either, it was either in the bot lane or in the top lane. I forget which kill the first one was.
If we can start rolling through the replay, we can go at double or 4 times speed, just so we can get the lay of the lanes. within a few moments, we will see the first 2 kills from G2. They kind of came in simultaneously, top and bottom, to be fair. And we'll obviously be taking a look at the specific setup. But what did you make of the early attempt, level 1?
I think a lot of this, of course, is just to primarily just get a little bit of information in the enemy jungle, see what G2 is up to, what their pathing is, and where they're going to be starting. So obviously we noted that G2 starting up on the bot side, they want to go up towards top. Jankos wants to try and cover this Camille Volibear matchup, risk a potential getting dive, making sure that Camille isn't put in a very dangerous situation. Wonder getting a very early push means that he's already going to start getting very favorable trades, and he will get that early level 2.
And of course, just for Eva, just before we do get to the kills, perfect timing here, slowing it down, and you can already see the initiation. Level 2, and Wonder's already got the advantage against Bwipo.
All right, so let's have a look at exactly how this one happens. So first, you'll notice that he has hit that level 3 mark. He's very close to the tower, but he wants to try and take advantage of the level difference between the two. So he lands the stun into the auto reset, and he actually hits the true damage into the shield, but realizes that that's okay. I think one of the biggest turnarounds here is this point right here, where he actually gets his passive back up and available. At this point, Bwipo realizes that he can't win this trade anymore because all of his cooldowns are gone. But Wonder's Q rather is just about to come back up, which means that he gets that additional damage and is able to get that outplay.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we do have the magic of the Observer tool. So can we rewind 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and let's actually watch this bottom lane. Can we go a little further back there, Eva, and actually watch how the setup happens that Mickey and Reckless are able to pick up a kill for themselves?
So the very first thing to note is we saw Reckless and Mickey giving a pull over to Jankos, which means that they get to lane late, and it means that they're going to get that level 2, obviously a little bit delayed. So Upset and Hylissang took advantage of that, and they start stacking up this wave for a push. The risk, of course, is that Talia could also come over and threaten a dive, maybe even zone them away from the tower. So a hook initially comes out. At this point, Hylissang is very close to tower. He just draws tower angle. Such great awareness there from Mickey to realize, hey, Hylissang has slightly overstepped. I don't think that hook was very egregious, but as you noticed, he got a little too close, and Mickey was very quick to punish it immediately.
We pause it just there. Hylissang still feeding Reckless. Now, we do actually have the ability to jump straight. Yeah, we do have the ability to jump straight to the next kill. Just before we do, I do want to just remind you that if you are just joining, we are in a technical pause. We can see the players on your screen actually at the moment as we're currently investigating. League officials are working with G2 to solve the connectivity issues. I will keep reminding viewers in case we do have new ones joining us.
Right, so again, let's very quickly pause it because as you'll notice, in the early game, G2 have 2 kills, right? This is huge, right? The fact that they've been able to get an advantage on Wonder, the fact that they've been able to get an advantage in the 2v2 without any form of jungle interaction is great. But the big thing is that Reckless hasn't had an opportunity to reset yet, so that advantage actually hasn't come through. So let's now start rolling out the clip and see what happens. Because honestly, there's been so much action in this game, I forgot what kill we were at this point. So what ends up happening here? Mickey flashes in. This is where Jungler comes down towards the bot side to help look for a gank. So this is where they're trying to get that reset in for Reckless. They're trying to push the wave in so that he can reset, spend that gold, and start utilizing some of that early advantage that he was able to get in early laning phase. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, let's pause it very quickly, and let's actually rewind just a little bit, because while this play is happening on the bot side of the map, Selfmade's like, hey, I need to go and clear my top side camps, so with a wave stacking from Bwipo, I now want to threaten this top lane tower dive. You'll also notice that Niski has the teleport available. He's resetting after just pushing in that mid wave, which means, lo and behold, he is primed and ready to join this dive as well. Fnatic know that G2 can't respond because of what's happening on the bot side of the map, and with no flash on the side of Wonder, they deny him a lot of farm, and even though he gets a solo kill, it's completely mitigated by this dive from Fnatic.
All right, 5 minutes in, 1 kill to 2, 7.6, 7.6. Fnatic will be getting themselves another kill in just a moment. Do you want to complicate the situation we're in? I believe we have the ability to draw. I think we can turn the tools on, all right? Okay, so I think that's a no. I'm not quite sure what's happening. We may turn the Telestrator tools on in just a moment, so if we do see the tools, then Vedius, I will be asking you to draw for us, and they are activated.
Okay, okay. Do I have observers with me as well?
I believe that we do.
Okay, so observers, if you could just give me a wiggle to...
Yeah, there we go. I think we're live. They're live.
Nice, perfect. Right. Okay, so pause me. This is great. So now I have everything. Now we get to play.
This is the Vedius show. Welcome to the Vedius show.
All right, so first I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Though that's not what I wanted to do. Normally, I have a little button here. That's what I wanted to do. I want to get rid of this one, and I want to get rid of this one, and now I would like to go back to this. Perfect. Now our screen is clear, and we can bring up the minimap. So, now, excellent. I'm happy now. What we can talk about in the state of the game is that what happened for G2, I've got the wrong zoom in. My producer will be very angry with me. Because of the kill in topside, this was obviously going to be very bad for Fnatic. So what they needed to do was try and mitigate the pressure, and so that's why they set up that dive up towards the top side of the map and removed it. On the bot side, it wasn't Reckless that actually got the kill. If we can quickly bring up the scoreboard and show the item difference, it was Mickey that got that kill. So while he does come back with a pickaxe, you'll notice that because Upset was still able to get a lot of farm, he actually comes back to the lane with a Noon Quiver. So that bot lane difference is also mitigated. So what could have been very bad for Fnatic in the early game, they actually did a great job of handling and turning back around so that the lane is neutral. Let's now run this replay. Let's get rid of the scoreboard, and let's actually see what happens in this play. We'll notice right now that Jankos is on the top side of the map, Selfmade is on the bot, and the first thing I want to highlight is no summoner spells for Mickey because of the play that he made underneath the tower. The wave is in it. Let's pause it right here, right? So this is where for G2, it's in a very awkward spot. And I'm sure many of you in your solo queue games have been in this position before where what you want to do, and not you'll normally do, is you'll walk up to here and you'll just be like, you know what, if we kill these minions, we'll be absolutely fine. And that is exactly what this duo is looking to try and punish. They recognize that the moment Reckless and Mickey have overstepped even this line, that is enough for them to be able to get that kill. So as we roll the replay out, what you're going to see is, lo and behold, Mickey immediately splits off from Reckless. He's saying, I'm dead, there's nothing we can do, I can't escape, and if I run with you, you might have to burn your flash as well. So good guy support is there to cover for Reckless, and now the bot wave is in a very awkward position for G2, and now all of a sudden, the game is very heavily in the favor of Fnatic.
Okay, now pause for a brief moment. We're 7 minutes in, 2 kills to 2, the gold is still even. The state of the game, and let's rewind a little bit when we look at the compositions. Is there an onus? Is there a preference? Like, did you want to see one team maybe playing slower or faster, you know, in the contrast? Because I know we always say we expect a bloodbath, and I know we always say, like, it's fun, but is this going to benefit one side or the other? It's still very early days.
Well, I think what's really interesting about these comps is that they both scale quite well. I think that Camille has a slight advantage, especially in the side lane later on to the game, but Volibear's a champion that, as long as he doesn't fall too far behind, can actually match her quite well. You also have Aphelios and you have an Azir, who are both very strong scaling team fighters that have got off for huge, especially in these Drake fights, but the range that is offered from a champion like Zoe can definitely mitigate that. So I'm actually quite excited in terms of execution around these fights, because I think that there are pros and cons for both sides when it comes to that. I think that Fnatic have slightly better scaling, but that's mainly because of the Talia difference between the Lilia. I think that she just offers a lot more damage, so when it comes to these Drake fights, she's going to be offering a little bit more. But I do think that it is very close, and execution is going to be key.
3 minutes left of gameplay. I'm going to ask Eva to just press play and start running through the game for the last few minutes. As we approach a kill, Eva, if you can pause for us to set the scene. And Vedius, now we're going to have just a little bit of time where we can start looking at how this game progresses on this sort of even kills, even gold state.
Yeah, so if actually we can pause it very quickly here, and we can do like a quick summary of like what's going on with the waves, because laning and wave state is really important in pro play, and the most awkward thing for G2 right now is this bot wave that they need to try and fix somehow. So one option that they can do is that they can push in mids, and then they can use the pressure that they have in mid to then threaten bot, right? Obviously, Caps is a little bit too low to be able to make that, but the crucial thing is that he's forced both Hylissang and Niski very low, which then makes things very awkward for them when it comes to actually supporting the bot side. So there should be options for them to be able to break up this freeze. Meanwhile, if we have a quick look at the top side, the thing that Wonder is thinking about is there a risk of me getting dived here? So I'm going to quickly draw your attention to the minimap once again, and you're going to notice, well, okay, what is the most immediate concern right now for Selfmade? He does have all of his top side camps up, and his blue buff is up, along with this control ward that you can see sitting right here. So this threat of what Wonder's thinking is, hey guys, there's a real risk that I could get dived, but of course with the pressure that they have in mid, that mitigates that. But I'm not sure if they actually see the Talia in mid yet, but Talia is more concerned about what is happening in mid and needs to cover for that period in time at the risk of a potential dive, or to make sure that these two players on Fnatic are not suffering. So a lot of praise needs to go to Caps here, because his little playmaking not only pushes Niski back, but also Hylissang back. That will actually stop any potential dives happening on the top side, and can also potentially push out the wave in bot.
All right, so let's carry on rolling through this clip. As you can see, Hylissang went very, very low. Draco's almost lost his mind as Hilly was able to escape. And then there's all
Pause
this...
it again. very quickly. Sorry to cut you off there, Trevor, but I just kind of wanted to very quickly go back to what we were talking about earlier, where getting that mid-pry was so important. And did you notice how quickly Jankos and Mickey went through the enemy jungle to make it more awkward for Selfmade to rotate and actually started threatening bot? And the main goal is, number one, to threaten a potential dive onto this man right here, but more importantly, to break this freeze. Because the longer this wave stays here, the longer Reckless doesn't get farm, and that's bad. That's really bad. Notice that Fnatic Upset is already level 6, and they want to try and stop him getting as much solo XP as possible.
All right, I have just got an update that internet connectivity has been restored in the G2 house. Just to confirm, Depa, are we good to go back to the caster desk? Well, the game has been resumed. Without further ado, let's get back to our match of the week. Vedius,
Let's go. Let's get back in the game.
You are a machine. Thank you for that.
Absolutely are. Now, we have an opportunity to look at the bird's eye view of kind of the state of the game as it stands before we head into this pause. Now, maybe we could bring the scoreboard up as well, observers, if that's something that we can do, something we can look at to kind of examine the state of the game holistically. This view's perfect, observers. Thank you.
Yeah, because again, I think the big difference we've been mentioning is that CS in the bot lane, 20 CS up for Upset, and he's obviously going to be entering back into lane. It actually looks like Hylissang has a freeze ready to go bot side, so that's going to be even worse news for Reckless too.
Yeah, I think the highlight thing here is vision, right? You look at vision across the map. Upset and Hylissang have just base, they've picked up pink. So although G2 have vision around the mid-side, bot-side river, where Mickey is currently, I think that's going to get swept out soon by Fnatic. If Fnatic can keep this bot push and Selfmade comes out of base with more pinks as well and they control this whole bot side river, I think Fnatic's at a good... They're benefiting pretty hard here. I think the only thing they have to care about is caps with the bubbles because they're winning top, Herald's gone, they're already 1 Drake advantage, 2 minutes 30 till Drake, so both teams are going to be playing bot side here, and I think you'll see Fnatic sweep out all these pinks that G2 have kind of accumulated and then start to play around the hook, start to play around the bot waves, start to play around the push.
Yeah, something we see out of Hylissang in particular a lot is even when his AD carry resets, he sticks around in bot side to set up a good lane state for his ADC. So on the map, he's of course setting up that freeze. Meanwhile, Mickey is around mid lane, so that of course gives Cap some pressure to push in mid, and maybe they could set up a transition of that pressure towards the bot lane to try and break the freeze.
Yeah, so I think you have to note here, Fnatic's way of cracking this game open is through bot. Keep pushing this bot lane advantage. I think the only way G2 can contest this bot side vision for Drake is try and crack caps open through mid, you know, try and flash onto Niski, force him back, get his flash, make it so it's hard for him to step up, and then G2 can go through mid into the Dragon instead of going through bots where I think Fnatic is strongest. Yeah, definitely, but look at this top side. There's 4-man, 5-man hovering towards the top side, and we said this before the game was paused that Fnatic want to play to bot side, and then G2 will struggle to contest, but they're going for 2-man for this dive.
You see, good follow-up, gets the heal back, and Blippo dunks down. Oh! It's not even TFT, it's a thumbs up and a laugh spam. You gotta respect it. Blippo finding the kill.
G2 invest so many resources towards his top side. Look at them sprinting towards bot to try and get to bot wave to stop Fnatic from crashing this huge wave. If Fnatic can answer this with like a volley bear TP or anything, they can really snowball the game.
Oh, the Weaver's wall to push G2 away from the tower. Caps is going to try and farm. I think he gets 3 or 4 minions off that. But all these turret plates are going to Upset, and all these minions have been denied from Reckless. It's a disaster.
And now they have to sprint back to mid. Look at Caps and Jankos. They're trying to get back to this mid wave now. They dropped so much tempo by going 5-man top side. But if they get a sleep, maybe they can get a kill.
Sleep, looking for the setup. Cap's already burned his... No, maybe get the follow-up. Sleepy self-made, good damage coming from Caps. Niski now in a position to body block. Now the pushback, that is clutch! Niski, right when it matters. Caps no summoner spells left to pick up. Goes for the final flash, but he'll get shut down in the end.
And once again, it looks like Reckless just completely abandoned this bottom lane. It's 800 gold lead here for Upset. Reckless is trying to get as many plates as he can. They've got the Herald too to try and equalize.
Yeah, but just take account of what happened. Whippo won the top side, Niski and Selfmade won mid, and the Upset and Hylissang got so many plates in bot. The Herald will come in, and I think this tower will die. But I think that Upset just picked up bot tower just in time, so he got the first tower gold. He got 5 plates in the bot tower. I think they don't have much front line for this huge scaling of Phelios and Azir, and they don't have that much damage to deal with it either, but you can see Upset move towards the top side, bot towers down, can G2 find the pick?
Hook lands, interrupts the hook shot, wall
TP behind.
Self-made there, but he doesn't have a lot of mana. The follow-up potentially here. Caps lands the sleeping trap bubble from downtown.
G2 in trouble.
Whippo on the flank. Eyes on Upset as well. He's been exhausted. Niski in the midst of everything. Whippo off to the side. Maybe G2 can find the collapse. Hook shot, wall dive, but he dashes over. He turns back, and he takes down Reckless. That was personal. Upset now set up to throw down some damage. A brief pause as Mickey runs for the hill, but that's going to be at the threaded volley, the kill for Self-made. This is Fnatic's game.
The problem that G2 are doing this, they're trying to group up a lot. You can see 5 members towards the top side. We saw them try this again earlier when they were trying for the 1v2 dive. We saw it even when they went for the blue invade on 5-man. They need to group up and find picks because they know Fnatic outscale them so hard. They need to find some kind of kills, try and get towers, get a Camilla ahead, get the Zoe ahead. So they actually have a win condition. But right now, it's kind of like G2's carries are just falling behind and Wunder is 2 levels down.
Mickey's trying to auto this wall.
I feel like they're really unhappy that it's an Infernal Rift, right? You know, Zoe finds, so much value out of having those walls. Now they're cut in half. There's less brush to work with too, but now G2 just sprinting at Bwipo.
Look at them again. Another 4-man play towards bot side. Mickey's even catching midway, but Bwipo has ult. He has no flash. The sleep's coming in.
Bit of a sleep. Unstoppable now as he goes into the tower, but Wonder following up. Bwipo's still very tanky, but there's more than enough damage to finish the job. That's the shutdown, but the one-for-one trade back.
Oh, it's a horror for G2 again. They keep trying to go for these 4 or 5-man plays, but look how many waves they're losing. Mickey's holding mid alone. He had to try and ult to clear the wave. Niski's hitting top tower. We've seen this so many times throughout the whole game where G2 committing so many numbers to one individual catch that Fnatic just win on the other side of the map. Hang on, they're starting up the Baron here.
Oh, man.
Caps doesn't have TP, and G2 are going 5-man bot side. Wunder is on the top side of the map, but Fnatic shred this Baron.
Yeah, Upset has Crescendo, so it's down below 5k.
Moving slowly. Mickey's not even going to see it. They're going to get Hillsang waiting in the bush. Maybe they get a pick to follow up, but are you kidding me? Fnatic, they're going to look to grab a little bit more. Lantern coming in a little bit late. Mickey punted back. Hillsang maybe overstaying here, but Upset has the perfect setup. If he swaps to Gravitum, he can get the CC follow-up to kick a fight off. Wonder just going to get deleted. Oh no, this is not a fight that G2 can afford to take. Bwipo into the back line. My God, the 1,000-pierce bear just shredding through G2.
Bwipo's just an absolute machine. Jankos is looking for Veniski over the wall.
Wide glide, and that's all it takes. Revenge for Fnatic and rebirth as Upset makes his mark on this team, and Bwipo shreds through the fight.
All that's left are the former Fnatic members, Caps and Reckless, while Fnatic with this 20-minute Baron are just blitzing down that top tower, and Caps, he's looking for more, but he's in trouble.
Selfmade pulling back, Reckless flashing forward. You can't do that. Get him in, and he makes it work anyway on the 1-for-1.
TB's coming in. Fnatic don't want to stop here. Bwipo joins the fight. Can he catch Caps? He does have the
that's
flash.
a fast bear.
Sleepy, Caps. Oh, he's gonna starts with the W, waiting to get anything else down. He goes out, he comes back in, and he goes down.
Yeah, G2 pushed in bot. They have some kind of priority around this objective. It's the 4th dragon for Fnatic, but Fnatic just want to go for the base. G2 don't have any wave clear, so if they base too late, they can look for an end. You know, Fnatic are coming into this tier 3. I think they're going to drop the Infernal Soul perhaps and just try to go for the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic, they have a cannon minion. They've got a full wave here. G2, you have to recall. Yes, there's an Infernal Soul on the map, but Fnatic aren't going to stop.
I think they're going to try and pick up the Drake before they try to base, but I think Fnatic might be able to run it down. The Baron is off, so they could try and turn down here, use the Talia ult, use Bwipo's Volibear to try and get in this fight, but I think they're too late. Looks like they're trading an inhib for the Infernal Soul.
I don't think Fnatic knew that no one based from G2. It was just Mickey, but yet they're still here looking for the fight. Wonder, kind of tough position for them. There's no wave for Fnatic to work with, but they're looking for Wonder.
G2 are kind of stuck here. They have to look for some kind of fight. I think if Fnatic step too far forward, they can look for an engage. You know, Selfmade can use the wall to try and block them off. Hillesang's trying to look for an engage. They have to hit a hook. Does what? He flashes over.
Hook hits Wonder. He can flay him back over the wall. Pull back. He's waiting for his opportunity. In goes Bwipo. The rest of G2 peeling back as much as they can. The flash is out to safety. It's flawlessly played. G2 on the retreat, but Upset is now hunting. He will not connect on the ultimate, and it's a brief break, but no, the wall. Yanko's just barely able to make it out in time as the walls are certainly closing in on G2 Esports.
Oh, it's very close here. Just 1 kill for Fnatic. And G2, they're going to say, worth, baby. They got the Infernal. They slowed this game down. They gave themselves more time. But don't forget, Fnatic's teamfight is insane. Caps!
Picks up Hillesang with the Ignite, with the Q, and like you said, Ender, G2 have bought time. 5 minutes on the clock that they can use to try and scale, try and find some more picks. And look at Bwipo, he's looking for some kind of TP. He's going to base here and make sure his TP has the home guards. Hillesang is looking for some kind of fight.
They're just going to one-shot Hillesang to kick things off. They're going to pull off the Baron. Upset fishing for the ultimate, but it will not connect. It's Wonder into the backside immediately to try to take down Selfmade. Mickey's there as well. This fight is split. It's Bwipo on the backside versus 3 members of G2, but Bwipo refuses to go down. The sleep coming in, but is it enough? No, Gargoyle Stone Plate, baby. Bwipo's living as the wall comes in. Selfmade looking to ride home to victory as Jankos is going to get taken out by Upset. Fnatic poised to take the Baron and maybe even the game.
Fnatic, they don't need a Baron. They don't need the Dragon Soul. They're going for the Nexus.
Yeah, Fnatic definitely outscaled there. Bwipo 1v3 in the backline. Looks like Fnatic's going to take this game in 28 minutes.
And I cannot believe it, but Fnatic coming back for revenge. They are certainly look like a reborn lineup.